Last thing you want to have is your hard-earned money going to probate, going to maybe heirs that you don't want to get your money. There's a lot of things out there. And our rule of thumb is that if you haven't reviewed those estate plans within the last 5 years, you should.
So we have been discussing with Tim Stern, CFP, the new book by Tony Robbins, The Holy Grail of Investing. So far, talking about who this book is for: high net worth individuals, pre-retirees and retirees, long-term investors, investors and individuals seeking financial freedom, and investors interested in diversification. Talking about a few of the advanced strategies discussed in the book as well: private placements, excessive diversification in niche markets, complex tax strategies, leveraged investment strategies, and ultra-exclusive investment opportunities. The goal, of course, with your finances is to create reliable income while being efficient with taxes, estate and legacy building, and then managing market volatility. And Tony discusses these as part of his book, The Holy Grail of Investing. We've also introduced Tim Stearns. We want to get back into the topic here and talk about another topic discussed in Tony Robbins' book: estate planning and legacy building. Tim, this is a goal for savers and investors, proactive planners, is that they want to build and pass their legacy efficiently and effectively.
That's a great point with estate planning. At TJ Stearns here, we make sure that our clients have an estate plan. It's amazing to me how many people come in here and they could have millions of dollars and they don't have a trust, they don't have a will, they don't have powers of attorney, all these different things that we here at TJ Stearns make sure that they have to have, because last thing you want to have is your hard-earned money going to probate, going to maybe heirs that you don't want to get your money. There's a lot of things out there. And our rule of thumb is that if you haven't reviewed those estate plans within the last 5 years, you should. And we're proud to say that here we have an estate attorney on staff that can take a look at things. We don't charge for that, and maybe make some suggestions to make sure that the money's getting to where you want it to be.
Now, Tim, I've always had the perception, maybe thought, that estate planning was something of a process that you started later and in life. Why is it so important to be proactive and get an early start on this, especially for higher net worth individuals and investors?
Well, life comes at you pretty fast, and I don't care what your age is. If God forbid you have something that happens that you are no longer here anymore, and your spouse, if you don't have a estate plan in place, it's going to be just a travesty to everything that you've created. So regardless of age, you should be looking at that. I remember when my son was born, one of the first things we did was get a will to make sure that we knew where he would be if, God forbid, something happened to us. So I took this seriously at the age of 28. I would think no matter what your age is, you should make sure that your estate plan is sound.
What does it mean for someone, particularly maybe the impact on their family, if the estate plan is not in place and properly structured?
Well, first of all, you're going to look at probate, and probate, in most cities that we deal with, in counties and that type of thing, is at least a year. We've seen it as bad as 2 years on average. A lot of money is going to the lawyers and not where you would want it to go. So it's really easy. Do you want to pay maybe around $3,000 to have a trust, will, and those types of things done? Or do you want to leave it to happenstance?
And as Tony Robbins' book, The Holy Grail of Investing, discusses, Tim, we want to be tax efficient. So how does TJ Stern specifically help clients plan, prepare, and document the transfer of assets and the legacy and estate plan in the most tax efficient way?
Well, that's a great question. And one of the things that we pride ourselves here at TJ Stearns is we'll work with them to see exactly where their tax loopholes are, within legal means, of course. But we're looking for the fact that you want to maybe leave money to people via different IRAs and that type of thing. What about looking at, under the current tax laws, which are going to expire at the end of 2025? We talked about that on the last episode. What about looking at Roth IRA conversions and that type of thing that would mitigate taxes before you leave it to someone? Also, We've also seen people that want to leave money to life insurance, that would then credit the money at death benefit for tax-free inheritance to their heirs.
What are some of the more common mistakes or oversights that higher net worth individuals make in planning, or maybe overlook in planning, Tim?
Well, a lot of times you'll see that they have a trust, but they haven't put anything in it. Or another one that we've seen that people want to leave their IRAs to a trust, which can make the whole IRA taxable. Our attorneys always say that we should leave it to an individual. There's special circumstances, then that's a different story. But in most cases, you want to leave it to individuals just to save on taxes.
How can individuals and investors have peace of mind and assurance that there are no gaps left in their estate plan?
By getting a review. That's the easiest thing. At TJ Stearns, we'll review that with them to make sure, do you want to leave it to Mary and John? Oh, no, Mary, we haven't talked to in years. These reviews need to take place. A lot of times what we see is someone wealthy has a will, maybe, and some powers of attorney, but they never bothered to do a trust. And now they have built up substantial wealth, and it's time to, act like a big boy and get these things done.
Tim, another topic in Tony Robbins' book, The Holy Grail of Investing, was creating retirement income, and particularly the risk of sequence of returns. Can you talk to us about the sequence of returns risk and how that might complicate retirement income?
Sequence of returns risk is a phenomenon that we see in the markets that I don't think most investors, consumers, whatever you want to call them, know about. It's simply the concept of this. If you're going to retire, the best time to retire is a bull market. Well, no one has a crystal ball, right? We'd all like to retire into a bull market. But if you retire into a bear market, the other side of that is that you could be pulling out money and locking in losses, and then you're eating into your principal more than you actually meant to. So sequence of returns risk is really simple. It's taking out money in an up market. Chances are you'll have a great retirement. You're taking money out during a down market. Chances are it could be tough. And that's why when we pride ourselves at TJ Stearns about doing an income allocation plan for people that will not make them go over to their growth bucket and take out money when the markets are down.
If money is invested in the market, Tim, and we see a significant loss, a downturn in the market, a correction or a bear market, especially early on in retirement, how does that impact the outlook thereafter for the duration of financial security and confidence?
Well, a lot of times it's going, let's say you want to take out 3% of your portfolio a year, and the market takes your $1 million portfolio down 20%, which just happened in 2022. That was the average that we saw of most of the people coming to talk to us. At that point, you're at $800,000. You're taking out 3%. You're taking out more than you actually wanted to just because of the market's correction. So what we try to talk to people about is having an income allocation plan at TJ Stearns is that we're going to build you a plan that we won't have to go into into your growth bucket to lock in those losses to pay the bills.
Is income allocation one of the key strategies that you use at TJ Stearns to help your clients avoid the risk of sequence of returns?
Right. We call it the protect and grow plan. So we want to protect the money, but you need to grow it. Even my 94-year-old mother is still in the stock market. How are you going to stay above inflation? And Tony talks about that in his book, The Holy Grail of Investing. So yes, we pride ourselves in having a plan called the Protect and Grow that's going to grow the money, but make sure that it's protected.
How important is it for a retiree to have reliable streams of income regardless of market conditions?
Well, it's been proven that if you have a reliable source of income, you're going to have a happier retirement. You're not wondering where that next dollar is coming from. So in our plan, we literally show them what the monthly and yearly net money that they're going to be receiving, and increasing it by 3% each year. It makes for a very substantial plan.
It's pretty critical. I want to be able to enjoy my retirement, spend with confidence without the risk, without the worry of financial stress ruining that retirement, and large losses to your income base, especially early on in retirement, certainly could contribute to that anxiety and that worry. So how does the retirement income planning process there at TJ Stearns differ from other firms?
Well, most firms, we've seen some of the financial plans that come in here. They're assuming 8% to 10% uh, growth in the stock market. And what I ask people, and a lot of them are baby boomers, so they're older than me. I'll ask them, have you ever seen a stock market go up 8% each year without any decrease in your retirement? That's never going to happen. So we try to, temper those expectations. We only assume about a 4% return on the growth bucket. We're not trying to, knock it out of the park, because you want us to underpromise, overperform.
How confident, Tim, are most investors that their retirement plan will provide for stability and durability even during economic downturns? And second question to that, is that justified, or is that a false sense of confidence?
I think most of them are not very confident. Most people that come in to see us, it's because they're really afraid, because they don't actually have a plan. They have an idea of a plan. Maybe it's written on the back of a napkin, but at the end of the day, they want to have a real substantial plan that shows them, okay, every 15th of the month, I'm receiving this check from an insurance company or from what have you, and making sure that they know that they can pay their bills and sleep better at night.
Again, talking with Tim Stearns. And if you would like to set up that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan, of course, you are always welcome to be in touch with Tim Stearns, CFP, and the team from TJ Stearns Inc. You can give them a call at any time. They'd be happy to hear from you. You will be given opportunities to click on links to connect throughout this webinar. You can go right online to tjstearns.com. The topics discussed in Tony Robbins' book, The Holy Grail of Investing, some of these are for more sophisticated or accredited investors, those that have been able to save $1 million. And in some cases, these strategies are rather complex, $3 to $5 million or more. And you do need specific direction and help from an experienced, qualified professional before putting any of them into action. That's where the assistance and the resource of TJ Stearns Inc. and Tim Stearns CFP come in. So do get in touch and let us know if any of these topics, correlated and non-correlated assets, having that diversification, estate planning and legacy building, the need to generate that retirement income without the risk of sequence of returns. If those are of interest to you, do reach out and be in touch. And then, Tim, next topic that Tony really emphasizes in his book, you have been talking about this with your clients for years now: tax mitigation strategies, how to be as efficient and effective and pay as little in tax as possible.
We talked about this on the other episode, but regardless of your party, no one wants to pay more taxes. And I ask people every time in our classes that we speak at and workshops and that type of thing, where do you think taxes are going? They all say a thumbs up, that it's going to go up, and no one knows where it's going to end. So that being said, we make sure that we try to explain to our clients how to mitigate taxes. Right now, again, a great time to be doing Roth conversions, right? The income taxes are the lowest they've been since the 1980s, when most of these baby boomers were just starting their families. So with that, I tell people, come and see us to reduce your tax bill. We have a really interesting way to quantify what your retirement tax bill will be. And we have a website, www.mvpcfp.com, that will actually give them a nice report that shows you exactly what you will pay in taxes over your retirement.
Tim, taxes do seem to be a bit of a moving target, where the laws, the rules, the regulations, the requirements, the percentages, the brackets can change. Sometimes that's a bit foreseeable, but sometimes it seems unexpectedly. How do you help your clients stay ahead of tax changes to protect your clients and their assets?
Well, I'll tell you one tax change that's about to happen, and not very far off future, is that the current tax bill will retire or expire. Excuse me. it will go away at the end of 2025. And with that comes a brand new tax bill because it's going to revert back to the old tax rates. For example, the 12% will go to 15%, which we talk about this all the time, Pete. 12% to 15% doesn't sound like that much, but that's a 25% increase. So we need to be a little bit aware of our surroundings, which is taxes are going up and we need to mitigate them now.
Ignoring that issue becomes a more expensive problem the higher the income and the higher the net worth that you have. So, Tim, what would it mean for the retirement of those more affluent, higher net worth individuals if some unexpected and unwelcome tax changes significantly increased our tax brackets or burdens or liabilities?
Well, what happened is that a lot of their, beneficiaries are probably in their best working years. All that money will go into their income. And next thing you know, someone's paying a lot more in taxes than they should have been. And we try to mitigate that and get around that.
Can you explain the difference between mandatory and optional taxes? Optional taxes, probably not a term that a lot of savers and investors are familiar with.
Well, when I look at optional taxes, it's right now in your 401k and your IRAs. Regardless of your age, you can do Roth conversions. So, if you choose to, you could lower your tax rate. I don't know why you wouldn't.
You are responsible for planning and preparing for your best possible outcome. How concerned are you, ladies and gentlemen, about paying more in taxes or concerned with controlling and minimizing that potential tax liability? Of course, the cost of which can impact your retirement goals. That is a reason why tax efficiency is one of the topics discussed in the Holy Grail of investing, but also specifically addressed, Tim, at TJ Stearns Inc. in that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan.
Right. I mean, we make sure that people understand that what a net number is in retirement versus their gross number that they're looking at. By doing the Protect and Grow plan, we leave no stone unturned. Make sure that we understand exactly what their budget looks like and that they understand that a lot of their money has not been taxed by the IRS. And so when you're receiving that money, it needs to be net of that amount that you're looking for.
Tim, do you find that a lot of other financial and advisory firms are maybe unfortunately overlooking this and leaving a lot of potential dollars on the table for the IRS to collect rather than the rightful owners to utilize?
What I'm seeing is many of the companies out there that these clients have come from won't even help them with this. To them, it's a hot potato that they don't want to touch. So I pride ourselves in having a CPA on staff, and our CPA can take a look and mitigate taxes for them. And so it's kind of a one-stop shopping. You have an estate attorney, you have the CPA, and then you have a certified financial planning practitioner like myself. We kind of fulfill the whole gamut of what a client needs nowadays.
Well, how would you feel, ladies and gentlemen, if you discovered after the fact that you could have saved more in taxes by utilizing a different strategy that was overlooked or undiscussed? That's why it is so important and why it goes in depth in this discussion in the Protect and Grow written retirement income plan that is designed for you there at TJ Stearns Inc. with, of course, the help and assistance of Tim Stearns, CFP. Tim, you make the offer to put this plan together, the Protect and Grow written retirement income plan. Part of the protect is protect people against overpaying in taxes.
As I said before, no one wants to pay more than their fair share of taxes. And if you can show me a legal way to mitigate my taxes and reduce them, I'm all about it. I think every American wants that too, to actually be able to reduce their tax bill. No matter what you're doing, you want to pay less than the other guy.
Talking with Tim Stearns, CFP, reviewing the different sections and topics discussed in Tony Robbins' new book, The Holy Grail of Investing. Next on the list, Tim, market volatility and risk management. It seems like a large portion of the American public for a large portion of our lifetimes has simply been told to invest, 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 roll the dice, and take as much risk as possible. Why do we need to reconsider this approach, especially as we near and plan for the transition into retirement?
Well, Peter, you look at the fact that 2000 through 2010, the market really didn't do much, right? It started off at a certain point and ended at that certain point. My point is that everyone always tells you the markets will come back eventually. Well, in retirement, that's a whole different ball of wax because unlike your parents, we don't have pensions. So, if the market goes down, that's the money I'm supposed to be living on. And I'm a net seller of assets to begin with. So the last thing I want is to have the market go down. And again, that begs the question, do you understand what sequence of returns risk is? I cover a whole chapter on that in our book. So one of the things that we always are talking to people about is how much risk do you have in your portfolio? How did you do in 2022? Not that long ago. And a lot of these stocks that are the darling of today were the dogs of 2 years ago. So we need to be careful and smarter with our money, especially as we go into retirement.
Tim, market volatility certainly is of concern for me. I imagine it is, but confirm for us, how much of a risk is market volatility for higher net worth savers, investors, and individuals? And then how does TJ Stearns Inc. specifically help to plan and to protect or safeguard against market volatility to keep assets safe that we don't want to risk?
Well, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is having active strategic money management. We are not a buy and hold place. And I find it interesting. A lot of companies that were buy and hold are buying up actively managed companies that are money managers. So what we're doing is that we put in stop losses. We're using covered calls and puts. We're doing a lot of different things to try to mitigate risk that you're seeing in the volatility in the market.
Tony Robbins talks a lot about staying calm in the midst of market volatility. Tim, if we've got a lot of risk on the table, if we're seeing our money have significant volatility, how do we maintain that calmness? How do we not get emotional and overreact and maybe panic when we see those market downturns?
Well, sometimes we feel like we're a therapist here. At TJ Stearns, we'll have someone who comes in after the market's gone down. And, we felt even just a couple of weeks ago that the market, it was kind of a head fake and it was going to come back. And, we'll hold hands and that type of thing and make sure that they understand that. But being disciplined is part of the issue that, we try to teach our clients is being disciplined, staying true to what we said we're going to do, which is if the market is terrible, we're going to try to get them out in time. Right. But the buy and hold for us, for baby boomers, that doesn't work anymore.
Tim, do you see a lot of investors who unfortunately suffer losses because their risk isn't properly managed or because their portfolio exposure is not appropriately balanced or aligned with their risk tolerance and time horizon?
Well, what I'm seeing a lot of is people that, they sent their kids to college, which in turn made their 401ks suffer, that they weren't putting as much money in there. And now they're acting like they're at a blackjack table and taking more undue risk than they should be. I sat down with a gentleman just the other day, we'll call him Joe. And I said, Joe, you're in 90% stocks. He said, well, I have to make up for lost time because I sent all my kids through college. And I get that, but I also know that if he gets wiped out, he's going to be working another 5 to 10 years. So we have to look at how to make that dollar stretch and go further. And the last thing I want to do is see someone lose another 20% like they did in 2022.
Tim, Tony Robbins in his book speaks of risk in the perspective of behavioral finance. What role does behavioral finance play in your risk management strategies, and how can you help clients avoid making emotional mistakes and knee-jerk reactions?
Well, again, a couple of weeks ago, we saw the market go down. We told them to hold on tight. We're going to be okay. And we were. We're looking at a lot of different factors. And by telling them that, we have our finger on the pulse, are we going to be perfect? No. But we're going to do a heck of a lot better than a buy and hold strategy.
Tune into Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Investment advisory services offered through Cornerstone Securities, LLC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.